G'day guys, how are you? I hope you're all doing very well. This afternoon I'm going to be doing a review of a horror film from Indonesia. This is in the Indonesian language, English subs, and it's also got a little bit of English. Released in the year 2014, directed by Kimo Stambul and Timo Sarjanto, and this film is called Killers. Now Killers is about this guy. He is a psychopath from Japan, and he is putting his serial killing ways on the internet. So he gets a lot of views per kill that he does. And so, all the way in Indonesia, this guy who is a taxi driver and he's really down on his luck, he doesn't really feel his life's going anywhere, takes a morbid obsession with watching what this guy is doing. He doesn't, he's not condoning what he's doing, but he is just strangely compelled to watch, and he is basically, this Japanese guy's life is consuming him. So he starts to believe that he wants a little bit of recognition as well. So while this Japanese guy is doing these serial killings on these innocent people, this Indonesian guy decides to do a little bit of killing on his own. So when this Japanese guy realizes that this Indonesian guy is getting more recognition than he is now, he starts to get very angry about that. So he wants to go now to Indonesia to confront this guy, and ultimately what happens from that point on is a very bloody trail of carnage, and it all adds up to a very memorable climax that I'm not going to give away. So if you like the way that that movie sounds, please go out there and see this film for yourself in order to get the end. Alright, so my thoughts on Killers. Now, Kimo Stambul and Timo Sarjanto, known as the Mo brothers, were responsible for another film called Macabre. Now, I really like Macabre. I thought it was a really fun slasher type of movie, but it did have problems. So, coming into Killers, I had really high expectations because I think it was Timo Sarjanto was responsible for co-directing the segment from VHS2 called Safe Haven. He co-directed with Gareth Evans, who's responsible for The Raid. So, this guy really knows his stuff as far as the horror genre is concerned. He does really good gore effects with Macabre and the VHS segment. So coming into Killers, I was expecting something of a Timo Sarjanto style of film, and that's exactly what I get. Now I feel that this is light years above Macabre. It felt like the Mo brothers realised their errors in Macabre, and they wanted to basically kick it up a notch in Killers. Killers feels like a much more stylish type of film. It feels like a feature movie, whereas Macabre, it felt like a lower budget type of movie. It was making errors that you'd expect from a lower budget filmmaker. But Killers, it seems a lot more polished, and it feels like a genuine mainstream sort of film, but at the same time it's very extreme. So it's not going to appeal to a mainstream audience, but it has that quality to it that makes it feel like a feature film. So Killers, I thought the story is very captivating. I love the way that it starts off with this psychopathic serial killer documenting his life on the internet. Then all of a sudden he's got a bit of competition, and this guy is basically showing his killings on the internet that are very different from the Japanese guy. So it does show you what technology can do these days and how morbid it can be and how competitive we can be over the internet. And there's also a lot to do with other styles of technology such as mobile phones. And it does show you the obsession that we have with technology, and I thought that was a kind of underlying message that the movie had that doesn't really dominate what the film is all about. Ultimately what the film is about, it's a horror movie, but there is this little underlying social commentary on society these days, and I thought that was very interesting, and I thought it played very well. So the acting from the two main leads, it needed to be really good, and fortunately it was. I love the fact that this Japanese guy was a complete lunatic. The way he dispatched his victims was really cold-hearted, so it felt like an authentic psychopath, and that is basically what the film needed. Some of these films, it doesn't quite work because the villain's not quite menacing enough. This guy, this Japanese guy, his presence is just really weird. This guy is, as I said, he's a weirdo, and what he does is just really chilling, and the way he does it in such a calm manner, it really makes it disturbing. And then on the other hand, you've got a guy who is the complete opposite of this Japanese guy. He is a guy that has been, you know, basically, he's lost faith in humanity. You know, everything around him is corrupt. You know, people are getting robbed, people are getting killed, and he wants to do something about it. So the incentive for him to go on his little killing spree is a lot different from the Japanese guy. And when they get that bond together, once the Japanese guy knows what he's doing, it's just a very strange sense of friendship and loyalty and love between the two, and it's just done in a very morbid way where once again you feel uncomfortable, but at the same time there's that underlying presence to the film that captures you, and it makes you feel really weird, and it makes you feel very awkward and uncomfortable because you're connecting with these guys that you deem as complete nutcases. And that, you know, ultimately makes you feel bad because, as I said, you're sympathising for a situation that society has deemed as ghastly, and rightly so. So the violence in the film is very, very off-putting. A lot of people are not going to like it. It's not as gory as Macabre, but I thought the violence was more brutal. It's very much a very hard-hitting film. Macabre, the violence in Macabre, it tended to be a little bit cartoonish, whereas the violence in Killers, the blood is at a minimum, but the violence is a very high impact. It hits you very hard, and you're going to be shocked on more than one occasion. The themes are very, very provocative as well. It delves into sexual abuse, you know, incest, or necrophilia, all kinds of really morbid stuff. And so if you're an extreme horror fan, you're going to like Killers. I love the way that it finished. I thought that it was sad, and in some places it was funny as well. So there's a strong level of dark humour to the film, so you really have to connect to that style of humour. Now, I'm a sicko. I love my dark humour, so I was laughing on more than one occasion. But it's just a movie that makes you feel really, really awkward and uncomfortable. I thought the acting was great, and it's a step up for the Moe brothers. I thought Macabre was decent. It was fun. But then Killers is another step up. So I really like Killers. I'm sure a lot of you out there will as well. If you like your sort of more hardcore horror, then Killers is definitely a film I would check out. I love the story. I thought it worked very well. Had an underlying message and social commentary about what society is these days. And on top of that, it's just a good old-fashioned horror film with some horrifying sequences. So overall, for Killers, I'm going to give it 4 stars, and it's coming recommended. Alright guys, that's my review. I hope you enjoyed it. Till next time, keep watching movies, and I'll see you later. Bye.